Manchester United are back, they are refreshed, they are focused, and they are heading to Merseyside on Monday evening with a point to prove, a statement to make, and a golden opportunity to take another enormous step towards securing Champions League football at Old Trafford for the first time in what feels like a very long time. Michael Carrick addressed the media on Friday for the first time in 2 weeks, stepping in front of the cameras and the microphones with the calm, measured and quietly confident demeanour that has become his trademark since taking charge of this football club, and the message he delivered was as clear and as straightforward as everything else he has done since walking back through the doors of the place where he spent the most celebrated years of his playing career. "We are trying to be our best," Carrick said, acknowledging that there are still things to improve on, but insisting that the foundation, the base, the spirit and the belief within this Manchester United squad are all in a genuinely good place heading into one of the most important fixtures of this entire Premier League season. 13 days have passed since United's last competitive action, a 1-1 draw away at West Ham United that felt like a bump in the road rather than a crisis, and the extended break has given Carrick and his coaching staff the time to recharge, to reflect, to work on the training ground, and to prepare meticulously for the challenge that awaits at the brand new Hill Dickinson Stadium. This will be the first time Manchester United's senior men's team have ever played at Everton's spectacular new home, and Carrick will be absolutely determined to ensure that the occasion is remembered for all the right reasons, namely a positive, attacking and winning performance that continues the remarkable momentum he has built since being appointed as interim head coach until the end of the season. Because the story of what Carrick has achieved at Manchester United since taking over from the sacked Ruben Amorim in January is genuinely extraordinary and deserves to be appreciated in its full context. 4 wins from 5 matches, a record that includes stunning victories over Manchester City and Arsenal, the kind of results that nobody predicted and everybody noticed, as well as a gritty and determined win over Fulham that showed the mental toughness and resilience that a Champions League chasing squad absolutely must possess. The draw against West Ham was the one blemish on an otherwise outstanding start, and even then it was only Benjamin Šeško's heroics that preserved the unbeaten run, with the Slovenia international's intervention preventing what would have been the first defeat of the Carrick era. That draw was frustrating, no question, but it was nothing like the humiliating loss to Everton back in November, a defeat that is now understood to have been one of the key contributing factors in the eventual decision to sack Amorim in January. On that night, Everton went down to 10 men and David Moyes' side simply sat back, stayed compact and punished United for a performance that was slow, predictable and woefully wasteful in possession. Moyes received enormous credit for that victory, but the brutal truth is that Manchester United essentially gift-wrapped it for him, and Carrick knows that Monday night represents a direct opportunity to demonstrate that this team has learned from that humiliation and will not repeat it. On the injury front, the news from the United camp is a mixture of cautious optimism and continued frustration, with Carrick managing a squad that is not yet at full strength but is growing in quality and cohesion with every passing week. The biggest blow remains the hamstring injury suffered by Patrick Dorg, the exciting young Danish wing-back who had been in the form of his life before being struck down during the 2-1 victory over Arsenal last month. Initial reports suggested Dorgu could miss up to 10 weeks of action, and that estimate still appears to be broadly accurate, with a return in late March or early April the current target. Carrick has spoken openly about how disappointed he is to have lost Dorg at such a critical stage of the season, describing the 20-year-old as being in such a good place before the injury and expressing his eagerness to get him back on the pitch as quickly as safely possible. His absence is keenly felt because the directness, the energy and the dynamism he brings from wide areas have been a significant part of what has made United so difficult to play against under Carrick's management. Mason Mount is another player who has been missing from United's recent matchday squads, having sat out the last 3 fixtures with a knock picked up in training. Carrick addressed Mount's situation at his Friday press conference, saying that the midfielder is getting closer to a return and that nobody at the club wants to rush anything or risk a setback by pushing him back too soon. Mount was pictured reporting for training earlier in the week, which is an encouraging sign, but he is not expected to be available for Monday's trip to Everton, with the home match against Crystal Palace on the 1st of March now being identified as the more realistic target for his return to the matchday squad. When fit, Mount provides United with a level of technical quality, creativity and movement in central areas that the squad genuinely misses, and his return will be a significant boost for the weeks and months ahead. Matthijs de Ligt remains the longest-serving absentee in Carrick's squad, having not featured for United since the end of November due to the back injury that has kept him sidelined for every single one of the club's fixtures since then. The Dutch defender is said to be working towards a return and moving closer to fitness, but Carrick confirmed this week that he is still not ready to be included in the squad, describing him as being a little bit behind Mason Mount in terms of his recovery timeline. A return for the Newcastle away fixture on the 4th of March is the current estimate, and when de Ligt does finally come back, he will add another layer of quality and experience to a central defensive partnership that has been performing admirably in his absence. Heading into Monday evening, United find themselves sitting in 4th place in the Premier League with 45 points, firmly in control of the final Champions League qualification spot, but not so comfortable that they can afford to take anything for granted. Chelsea sit just 1 point behind in 5th place, with Liverpool lurking 3 points further back in 6th, and the message from Carrick and from everyone connected with this football club could not be clearer, which is that these are the matches United simply must win if they are to make their Champions League ambitions a reality. Everton under David Moyes are themselves chasing European football, currently positioned to qualify for the Conference League and harbouring genuine ambitions of breaking into the top 6 if results go their way, which means that the atmosphere at the Hill Dickinson Stadium on Monday evening will be competitive, intense and anything but straightforward. David Moyes has a near full-strength squad available for the reunion with his former club, the notable exceptions being Jack Grealish, who is on loan from Manchester City and has undergone surgery that is expected to rule him out for the remainder of the season, and Jake O'Brien, who is suspended after being sent off in the 2-1 home defeat to Bournemouth in Everton's last outing before the FA Cup break. Moyes will set his team up in the same way he always does against bigger opponents, sitting deep, staying compact and looking to punish United on the counter-attack with pace and directness. That is exactly what happened in November, and Carrick knows that his team's ability to break down a well-organised and disciplined defensive structure will be the key tactical challenge of the evening. United have shown under Carrick that they can transition brilliantly from defence to attack at pace, the way they went through Manchester City in that stunning victory being the most compelling example. But against a side that is likely to have considerably more of the ball, they will need to show a different dimension of their attacking play, demonstrating patience, creativity and the ability to find solutions when space is at a premium and the opposition are happy to let United have possession in front of them. The encouraging factor for United supporters is that Everton have been dreadful at home in recent months, failing to win any of their last 6 matches at the Hill Dickinson Stadium across all competitions, and that poor form on their own ground provides genuine encouragement for a United side that is travelling to Merseyside with a 5-game unbeaten run and a clear sense of direction and purpose under their interim manager. Away from the immediate focus on Monday's fixture, the Marcus Rashford situation continues to generate enormous interest and discussion among Manchester United supporters, and the story has taken several intriguing twists in recent days that have added fresh layers of complexity to what was supposed to be a relatively straightforward loan deal with a clear summer outcome. Rashford joined Barcelona on a season-long loan last summer following the complete breakdown of his relationship with then-manager Ruben Amorim, with the deal containing a buy option clause worth £26 million that Barcelona can trigger at the end of the season. At the time, that figure seemed perfectly reasonable for a player who had managed just 8 goals in 43 appearances during a difficult final season at United. But Rashford has been absolutely transformed in Catalonia, contributing 10 goals and 13 assists in just 34 appearances, a goal involvement every 86 minutes that has made him one of the most effective and consistent attacking players in the entire squad at the Camp Nou. United Chiefs are now reported to be harbouring genuine regrets about the level of the buyout clause they agreed, with internal estimates at Old Trafford now valuing Rashford at closer to £50 million, rather than the £26 million they agreed to accept. Making the situation even more complicated is the news from transfer expert Fabrizio Romano that Barcelona fully intend to sign Rashford permanently in the summer but have no intention of simply triggering the existing buyout clause at the agreed price. Instead, the Catalan club want to hold talks with United and negotiate a new lower fee, citing Rashford's significant salary as a reason why the overall financial package needs to be restructured. United's response to this approach has been absolutely unambiguous, with the message coming out of Old Trafford described as very clear, namely that the Red Devils have no intention of relaxing their demands or accepting anything less than the £26 million they originally agreed. Rashford himself has made his personal feelings entirely transparent, expressing publicly how much he is enjoying his time at Barcelona, describing it as an honour to play for one of the key clubs in the history of the game, and making it clear in every interview and every social media post that he has absolutely no desire to return to Manchester. The expectation among those closest to the situation is that Rashford will complete a permanent switch to Barcelona in the summer, with the only remaining question being the precise fee that the two clubs ultimately agree on after what could be a complex and potentially contentious negotiation. Michael Carrick, for his part, has been straightforward about his own position within all of this, making it clear that decisions about Rashford's future are well above his pay grade as interim head coach, and that he does not have the authority to make calls on matters of that magnitude. What Carrick does have authority over is everything that happens on a football pitch, and what he has demonstrated over the past several weeks is a level of tactical intelligence, man management skill, and sheer love for this football club that has made a compelling case for him to be given the job permanently beyond this season. He has spoken movingly about the privilege of being in this role, about his deep connection to Manchester United as a player and as a person, and about his determination to plan for the long-term future of the club, regardless of how long his current tenure lasts. But the long-term future starts on Monday evening at the Hill Dickinson Stadium in Liverpool, and it starts with 3 points against a David Moyes-managed Everton side that will be absolutely determined to repeat what they did to United back in November and send a statement of their own to the rest of the Premier League. Carrick's United have the quality, the momentum, the belief, and the bitter memory of that November humiliation to drive them forward. And if they play with the kind of positive, direct, and high-energy football that has characterised the best moments of the Carrick era, then there is every reason to believe they will leave Merseyside with exactly the result they need. The Champions League dream is alive, the building blocks are in place, and on Monday night, Manchester United have everything to play for and absolutely no intention of letting the opportunity slip through their fingers.